Hi, my name is Ashley, and this is my informative speech for Communications 101. John 4:20 through 21 says, "This I command, that you love another as I have loved you." This Bible verse tells us to love others as God has loved us, and I believe that we can achieve this through nursing. As a nurse, you are responsible for taking care of numerous patients, assisting physicians, and providing treatment to patients suffering from various medical conditions. God values our impartiality. This means that we are not biased. We can have patients who may not be as the same culture as us, they may not have the same beliefs as us, they may be more poor than us, and regardless of their background, we have to take care of them as we are taking care of Christ himself. God values our faith in him. One thing that jumped out at me when I was reading the text was Jill Stanek's story in our speech communications text written by Donald Albin. Jill Stanek worked at the Christ Hospital in Chicago, and she had worked there for a couple years when she had walked into a supplies room and she found a baby laying in there just dying. It was a premature baby, and she held the baby till the baby eventually just went weak and died in her arms. She then realized that her hospital was performing labor-induced abortions, and at this moment is when she spoke out against her hospital and told the public about what was going on at this hospital. When she stood up for the babies and the unborn children, this ostracized her from the hospital and the people who worked in the hospital, and she later got fired, but she did not care. She knew what was right because of her faith, and that's when she took a stand against that. Another dilemma that nurses might face is abortion, and some people think that when children may be eventually born with disabilities, physical or mental, that they are not fit enough to have this medical care. We should not spend money on these children who are just going to live the rest of their life with physical or mental disabilities. And as a nurse, it's our right and our duty to protect these children. God values his rightful authority over all things, including our bodies. So this means that it's God's decision whether or not these children should live or not. And if they are born with physical or mental disabilities, that's God's choice. It's not the parents nor the doctors to abort these babies just because of their disabilities. And as a nurse, you can encourage parents and tell them that it is God's decision. Another dilemma that nurses might face is terminally ill patients. Some people think that because a person's terminally ill or they're dying, they don't need the same or as much care as someone who might recover tomorrow from their illness. This is not the truth. These patients need just as much, if not more, care, and it's the nurse's duty to make sure that their lives, the rest of their lives, are valued. God values all life, regardless if they're dying tomorrow, dying today. He values all life. God also values our compassion for others, which means we need to be compassionate to all people, regardless of their sickness, regardless of their illness, and regardless of how they got their illness. For instance, a person who got AIDS because of same-gender sex. And it's a nurse's responsibility to take care of that patient regardless of their beliefs, regardless of their judgment on that person. It's their duty to not pass judgment on this person. God values our attempts to communicate his gospel of forgiveness and redemption to those who do not know him. This means, that maybe we could encourage the person to follow Christ and accept Christ into their life, and that would help their journey with their sickness. And the nurse's ability to not pass judgment allows their patients to trust them and be comfortable around them, and this lack of judgment by the nurse could also allow the nurse to show that just because they've sinned, they're not unworthy of God's love. They're not any less important to God. So nurses, as a nurse, you can show God's value for all of human life, God's value for our love and compassion of others, as a nurse, you can show God's value of our hospitality. As a nurse, you have to welcome all of your patients into the hospital or the nursing home or wherever you may be, and take them in as that is their home. And you have to be the one to care for them and love for them and make them feel as comfortable as possible. As a nurse, you can help show God's mercy to those who do not know Him. And I just really think that as a nurse, you are able to show all of God's values and all the values that God wants us to give to other people.
Great.